Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, excellent. I hope everyone is doing well. I see that everyone saw that the filing posted, and there's lots of questions. I've been reading through the comments. I I'm very excited for what's happening now, and I'm going to go ahead and answer the questions that people have been posting, explain a little bit about what's next. Um, but it's all in line with what we've spoken about before. The plan is proceeding well. Um, the only thing we've had is just delays, but overall it's working out as we planned. So, hope everyone is well. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and actually I'll start off by explaining what we've been doing. So, as everyone can see, the filing is done, and that what that means is that we now are considered SEC reporting, and we also have a to execute on the plan that's actually in the filing. So, as I had mentioned before, right now the next things that we're going to be doing is launching the services nationwide in the U.S. And starting the marketing PR campaigns. You've probably seen already in the group. I know that they've been posted. There's a couple of articles that have already come out. It's going to start ramping up a lot more, and we are now just literally wrapping up tiny little details here and there on the apps to launch them. So now we filed. Now we can go ahead and launch. We're doing everything as is in accordance with our plan in our filing. Also, a lot of people I think have been asking questions. Take into consideration that right now, this is probably the biggest challenge that we had was doing this filing. We had to go through the full audit, PCAOB audit, put everything together, but there's still more things coming. So as of now, we're executing on our plans. We're now we can now bring in more funding, which everyone knows we've been working on that and everything. So now we can go ahead and formalize a lot of things that have just been in talks that we've been working on, and that we still needed to make concrete, and we can go ahead and do that now. And what we're doing is we're basically closing a whole bunch of deals and different negotiations that we have going on right now, and updating our filing with all that new stuff. So every filing will have all that information in there. But that's the next stage. So right now, our short-term plan is do our launch very quickly, start the marketing PR, show results, but it'll just be, bringing in users and ensuring that sales happen, ensuring that people get good consultations, ensuring that we're optimizing on that. The team will be doing that optimization, and I'm doing more podcasts. There's a couple of that I have coming up soon, big ones. There's, just different mainstream media stuff that's coming out. And, that's just going to start building up. I would have loved to have started this, 3, 4, 5 months ago, but it was just getting everything audited and everything in order was a huge amount of work. But I'm very glad we got through it, and now we're in this stage. So I'm going to go ahead and look at to see if there's any particular questions that anyone has. If you do have some, I think there's just a lot of discussion, but I can go ahead and answer them. I think some people are, wondering what's going to happen with the LifeChain Foundation and things like that. All those things are still in plan, and we actually have a new set of great ideas to actually take advantage of that even more and add more utility to MTC. But it's important to understand the way we did this is to actually do this the safest way possible, to be compliant and to do things under the correct regulatory environment. So Doc.com as a company, it has a mission to provide free basic healthcare. It's something that we've been working on for many years. There's many paths, or there's many components to achieve that. One of which is through crypto economy, one of which, the converting sales to a reward system, things like that. We all know that. So anything that's blockchain related will be handled by the foundation and by the LifeChain Foundation. And I think that's really important. Some people think, oh, this is how, that's not right. It is the right way to do it if we want to grow and we want to create real value, create real utility, if we want to be compliant and be able to scale up. And it's the same plan that I've been talking about in AMAs for a while. We have to separate these two things, separate the company doc.com and separate all the everything related to crypto. We can't mix both things in a way that is detrimental to our mission, to providing services. And ultimately, doing it like this will provide much more benefit and value creation on both sides. So, there's a lot of work to be done just in offering healthcare services, like what we're doing, and doing more things that are on the tech side or on the blockchain side. There's benefits in hashing. There's benefits in decentralizing what we can, and but then again, when there's that economic aspect, that has to be done through a foundation. So that's how it was originally planned. That's what we're doing. And the good thing is now we can start executing on that stage. Daniel has been anxiously awaiting to get this started. We also have the team ready, that'll be leading the LifeChain Foundation. Those people are already ready to go. And this was a catalyst. This was a catalyst we were waiting for to get a lot of these things done, doing the filing. And now it puts us on track to doing our listing. So roughly the SEC, we're expecting them to take about a month to a month and a half to approve our filing. Who knows? I think we did a very great job at being very clear and included everything in there. They go back and forth. If we get it approved rapidly, then we can update it rapidly with another filing with all the updates. And we have a lot of cool things planned for this month. Very important announcements, and the launch, obviously, we have to do as soon as possible. There's some companies and institutions that we're partnering up with. As everyone here knows, we're actually going to be able to, I would say, wrap those up, have them actually signed, and those will be included in our next filings. So that's what we're working on. Those are the things that we're going to be working on this next month and a half until we get approved with this filing, and then we'll have a lot of stuff ready and finalized for the next filing, and then that'll be the last one before we list. So pretty good overall. I think if we do this in the best case scenario, we'll be listed, I probably think 4 months from now. That's depending on SEC approvals, how long that takes. Worst case scenario could take 2 to 3 more months after that. Either way, it's very nearby. And right now, this is we just have to execute on the next step. So it's exciting. It's exciting. I'm very excited for what's coming, what's already happening, and that's the plan moving forwards. I'm going to go ahead and look at the questions now. Let's see. Crypto Scotia, congrats on it finally. Thank you very much. What's the forward plan for the SAFE contract? So that's a great question. The SAFE people who came into the SAFE, they're actually receiving a new document, which will be signed, and with the calculation of what was in the SAFE, which means that some people, the people who came into the SAFE had a 50% discount. So all those calculations will be done. You'll receive a new document, and that new document you'll sign, and you will be sending, the transfer agent will send out your shares to you before listing. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple process. I think that's how we planned it out, and that'll be done before next filing has to be done. So that's with all the people that have SAFEs. That's what you'll be getting. You'll be getting a new, I think we already have everyone's IDs from the people who did safes. We already have their contact information. You'll be receiving an email. You'll be receiving your new agreement, and that's the way you'll get your shares transferred to you, which you will have possession of before the listing day, and that's pretty straightforward process. Let's see. Why did we switch from a direct listing to IPO? What happened? Okay, no, we did not switch from a direct listing to an IPO. We're still doing a direct listing. So what happened to the $300 million in funding? Well, we have a non-binding commitment there. So with the 300 million, and if you see in our filing documents, there's actually the agreement there that's in there. There's an agreement in there that's in the filing documents. Basically says that we were receiving help to raise upwards of 300 million. So that's in there. But the great thing is what's happening with the 300 that we wanted to raise. That's actually that's what we're now wrapping up to put into our next filing. So it'll be public. I mean, it already is. We've already talked about this, but I'm saying like the actual. It'll be legally binding. It'll be legally binding, and you know, it'll be something that is transparent. Let's see. Are the 2050 fundraising from the Reg A needed for the launch and services operation? Yeah, the use of proceeds of that 250 is it's in there. You know, it's just to pay for some legal fees. It's. I mean, you can definitely. 250 is not enough to. Just the listing fee alone for the NASDAQ is, you know, a big chunk of that. So it doesn't pay for everything, but it does pay for the basic legal things that we need. And you know, it's also allows people to invest in us who believe in our mission and believe in what we're doing at a price point. You know, we still have to get more shareholders in. I think we're at around 200 right now. We still have to get a little bit more of, you know, around 100 and something, or 100 shareholders more, or a little bit more than 100. And this is the opportunity for us to bring in that remaining 100 shareholders. And the good thing is there's no minimum to invest. So someone could come in and invest a small amount of money if they believe in us. You know, this is the moment when we have the chance to do that. Once we reach the requirement, it's closed. You know, there won't be any more opportunity for people to get shares at a discounted price like this. And the reason we're doing this is because, I mean, we're focused on growing the company and doing a great job of consultations and things. But I've mentioned this before in other AMAs. We have to consider the three pillars. One is the consultation. One is the actual services. You know, great services and consultations. So operations. The other is the PR marketing pillar, and then the third thing is trading. You know, how are these shares going out in the market? What's being done? It's hugely important to do that. You know, that was a very hard lesson I learned in my life in the past as well. And I think for everyone who's a shareholder, it's very important that we maintain price stability and that we can raise it up from there, and that we're not, you know, having these crazy volatility and stuff like that. And the logic and the way we're helping that situation happen is by not having so many people ready to basically dump their shares on the market, you know, right off the bat. And it's an important part of the strategy, because if we maintain price stability and people believe in us and we're executing, we're showing good results, that will ultimately give us more access to more capital, which we can use to grow the company even more and faster. And that's really the objective, so we can get to all reaches of the world. And this is one mechanism to do it that's very strong for us. So that's why this raise is such a small raise on the Reg A, because we don't want a huge amount of people just selling all at once and stuff. and it's just to protect the company and protect all people that are shareholders. It's a win-win for everyone if we do it this way. Let's see. Can non-US citizens buy stock? Yes, of course you can. I think we'll be sending out links. You don't have to be a US citizen to buy shares. Anyone in the world can buy shares. I think the only thing you have to consider if you're not a US citizen is where you're going to custody those shares. So we have already people that are shareholders from Latin America. There's many of them. And those people, the shares are traded in the New York or in NASDAQ, which is a US exchange. You have to have an account, let's say your bank account, that actually can custody US shares. So not all banks do it. Most big banks or most big brokerage firms in most countries do have that. But just take that into consideration. If you don't already trade stocks on any US exchange, you would have to open up an account. So that's very important, because if you sign and you purchase shares right now from us, there's going to be a moment not too far away when the transfer agent's going to say, okay, we're ready to send out the shares. And if you're, let's say, in an Asian or European country or something, and you haven't opened up an account yet where you can receive those shares, you won't be able to receive them until you get that. So it's a very important thing to consider if you're outside of the US. Let's see. And we will be sharing links. Let's see. Does the 250 from the Reg A filing become available upon SEC Reg A filing approval? Actually, we have access to those funds beforehand. I'm pretty sure that we have full access to them from the moment they're deposited. So they don't hold. The SEC doesn't hold those funds. It's in there. So those 250 from the Reg A becomes available. I'm pretty sure it's available or either way, it has to be approved. So we still have to wait to get the Reg A approved anyways. So until that's done, hopefully it won't take more than a month. We can't even take in money for the Reg A. So that's just a thing. So really, once the money's deposited, we have access to those funds. But we can't even put out a link to make those deposits until the Reg A is approved anyways. So still have to wait a month for that. And the idea really is to have everyone in the community who believes in us, and to invite their friends and family, because this is that opportunity to buy. I mean, there'll be a restriction as to how much. You can't buy like huge pieces, but small amounts. But it'll be a good moment for people to pick up some shares at a very discounted price, and it allows us to fill our listing requirements as well. So we have to get to that 300 mark or surpass it. And we, this is the Reg A's were actually designed with crowdfunding in mind. And it allows you to bring in unaccredited and accredited investors both. So, and you can also promote it openly. So we can say, hey, we're looking for more shareholders to increase our shareholder base. We can do ads, we can do things like that. So that's the benefit of that. We're launching the services well before the Reg A is approved. I mean, we're launching them now. We're literally finalizing the last things. The important thing for us was to file, because once we filed, now we can do business as usual. Now we can go ahead and execute on what we mentioned in the filing. So we're definitely launching before. The probability of the Reg A being approved, we have the audit, we did everything, we fulfilled all the requirements, and we actually went overboard on some of them, is likely. So, I mean, it's the probability is likely, just at least based from what our legal team, there's really no issues with how we're doing it. So we expect it to be approved quickly, but we're definitely launching the services. We don't have to wait for it to be approved to launch our services. We now have to focus on execution. The next filings, for example, are much easier than what we just did. This was the bulk of the work. Any filing that we do after this is just like it's just an update. So the big difficult one was this one, and that's why I'm so kind of like I've taken a breath. I'm just like, oh, finally done with that, because that was a huge undertaking. And the team did an amazing job. I'm very proud, proud of the team. Really, we did a great job with that. It took a long time, but we did it. So right now it's about execution. It's about ensuring that we have our fundraising in check, which is, also there's a lot of progress on that. Whether we have our announcements ready to go, we already have a lot of announcements that already started. And finally, that people are getting services. If people are getting services and that grows, that right there is the most fundamental thing, because services, getting services means getting prescriptions, means sales, means it's a cycle that we can keep on growing and growing. It provides the social benefit. That's the ultimate mission, that we make the services and the machine work as it should. And that's really what we have to execute on right now. So there's a good question here. Ellie asked, when will be the market making bot be ready on Bitrue? So right now on the dev timeline, we have the team working on just the last updates for the apps, because it's more important for us to launch right now. We just did a review last Friday. I think I told everyone in the AMA, we did a review that same day. There was probably 15 to 20 tiny little things that needed to be fixed. Like some things were, hey, move this word to a different section of the screen, little things like that just had to be polished out. So we're doing that. Those changes are being made so we can launch. We had some things that we're fixing on the telemedicine aspect of it, the video chat aspect of it as well. So there's just a little details here and there that are little bugs that are being fixed now, so we can push for launch. That's the main thing right now. After we do that, then the team goes and builds a bot. The bot is really not a difficult build. It's just time consuming, because you have to program in the rules. So, we prefer to do that ourselves than to actually be paying some third party to do that, which is making money on a regular basis. So either way, it's something that we'll have. It's not something that's too far away. We want to get the market maker working again. There's a lot of the things that are going to be happening with MTC are going to be handled through the LightChain Foundation, and there's different things that we've been considering. For example, the LightChain Foundation will offer a hashing service, but also the LightChain Foundation is building out the smart contracts for all the reward systems that are decentralized. So those are two things that the LightChain Foundation will be doing. But us as a company, we could either lease that aspect or just pay it out per hash. And those are the kinds of things that we have to contemplate into the cycle of MPC and how it's linked to the blockchain hashes. The LightChain Foundation will be doing all that, but we also have to focus on increasing the utility of it, because the LightChain Foundation, whatever it generates, will be going to decentralizing healthcare storage and providing free basic healthcare as well as a mission. So, whether it's us or a different company, if there's an option to give someone a basic healthcare service at zero cost as a foundation, the LightChain Foundation can do that, and it can, transparently do it through a smart contract cycle and through a crypto economy. And on the doc.com side, all we will see is just a payment coming in to pay for one consultation, and we can transparently show that. So that's what we have to build out right now. and that will increase the utility of it. And then we can integrate it under a compliant regulatory framework. We can integrate the blockchain component as what, how we dreamed of doing it. Great question, KP. A couple of weeks ago, LifeChain information would be ready, and why can't we see it? Well, one of the main reason was the filing. Every week I would say, all right, we're almost there. We're close to file this. And then at the last day when we were pushing, the auditor would come back and say, oh, we need to clarify these two other things. And I mean, hey, Patrick is here on the group, in the group, and he can tell people, tell us stories on that. But yeah, it happened on a regular basis, and it's a common thing that this happens when you go through audits. But that's the reason we haven't done it, because in our filing, we have a lot of plans that we said we would do in certain stages in a certain sequence. And that's more important right now, because that gives us the basis for everything that's coming up. And among those things is the LifeChain Foundation. So now we can launch. Now we can execute what we said in the filing. Now we can go ahead and start accessing the funds that we've been working on and doing the builds and all these things. And that's what we had to wait for, to do this the right way. So, we came in, we were doing the filing. So the strategy, and this is not only strategy, it's also part of it's part of the logic of doing things the right way, is we want to be clear and start with we want to start with a filing that displays all the mission, what we're trying to do, what we want to achieve, what we have planned down the road, what are the risk factors, like what are the potential risks if we didn't do our job right. All those things had to be in that filing. So it gives us that baseline. And if you look at it, say, okay, it also gives people a chance to buy shares at a discounted, very discounted price, even though it's a small amount. But those two things are beneficial for us to start off with that as a base. And then, we can say, okay, now we acquired this funding, we did our launch, we're innovating in our model with this, in this way, working with this foundation. And these are the steps that we took to get to that point. So it has to make sense, because it's not just that there's this economic component related to the LifeChain and related to MTC and stuff, but we also have to do it in a way where we can show true value creation and true utility, and demonstrate it through launching the services. Okay, this machine is working. Here's why this is important. Here's a transparency that's being generated off these blockchain hashes. And then, okay, now that moves into, hey, let's hold these coins as part of the assets of the company. Okay, because this worked, now we can do this. And so that sequence is important for us to follow, especially as a public company, because we don't want to focus and spend resources or anything on something outside of what the core mission is. And we want the best amount of utility, or the most amount of utility, in the best case scenario for us to work out. And it's just doing things in a certain sequence that really takes in it's really important to do, especially when you do it. So what held it up was that it's just doing our filings. I wish we could do all these things at once. And as time goes by, we're definitely getting closer to that, to doing lots of more things simultaneously. But it's that really is dependent on how much capital is available, how many team members there are, and that's still some things we still have to hire more people in. We still have to do the launch and have access to the capital that we have committed, and have them deposited and things like that. So that's how we plan on going about it. Is there a max limit to events or Reg A, or Synalytic can buy all of them? Yes, we're actually limiting the amount to invest in a Reg A to $60. This is that decision we have right now that we've made. Um, we'll be sending out the links as soon as the Reg A is approved. We'll be sending out the links, and it's just fully automated. It's done through Right Signature, similar to what people signed for the convertible notes. Same way, you can go in there. You'll be able to do the sign the document. If you're a foreigner, you'll sign the Regulation S document, and basically you'll do it. You can just upload your ID. You can use a debit or credit card, or you can also wire, but that's the fastest way is debit or credit. You can pay right there, and it's done, signed all digitally. Let's see, when will MTC start to have some real utility? Well, it'll start having real utility the moment the hashes start, based on the consultations and the product sales. So that's why it's important for us to launch ASAP and start hashing everything, because that's the moment where it has true utility as a basis. Second question, when can the swap be done? Okay, so that swap, like I mentioned, will be done through the foundation. The foundation it won't be a swap per se. It's really they're just converting it to fiat. And then you can take that fiat, and if you were on the list from 2022, you could buy at a discounted price shares. So at the price that was established back then. So that's the next step, and we have to get that. But if you are on that list, you will get that agreement. Dock and Marketplace launching simultaneously. No, it's launching. It's the same. It's actually the same. Dock and the Marketplace are one single app, so they're both part of the same app. If you go on the apps in the App Store right now and download it, it's the same thing. So what the launch means is we have the basics covered. So enough coverage with doctors and psychologists and veterinarians. We have enough coverage with vendors in the apps, in the marketplace that have products. It'll be enough to get started as we add more healthcare professionals, as we add more products to the marketplace or vendors to the marketplace. So that's the tech is already built for that. And the next stage right now will be promoting it and getting more vendors in and getting more healthcare professionals in as well. Is the marketplace ready and full of products? Well, there's enough products to sell and to fulfill what we have, our cycle, like our consultation. So if you get a prescription and you need to get it home, sent to your home, that full cycle can be done on Dock. So we do have those products, which are prescription products, and some over-the-counter stuff. But we definitely have to grow it a lot more, and that means bringing in lots of types of vendors that offer different types of services and products. And it can range from anything that's healthcare related, anything that you would consider that a doctor, psychologist, or veterinarian could potentially suggest and that would benefit patients. You can upload it as a product to the marketplace and manage your inventory and sales through the vendor's app. But you do have to be approved. We don't just approve just anyone uploading anything. It has to be something that makes sense. So there's some research that's done. If someone says, oh, okay, I sell therapeutic candles out of my shop in New York, and I want to sell nationwide to doc.com patients, you would have to upload the pictures of your product, descriptions, all that you can do in the vendor's app for approval. Once that happens, is we receive all that documentation. We check if you're an established business. You have to have be an established business, and then you can we just approve you. And once you're approved, your products are shown in the marketplace. People can search them. And that's it. We need a lot of people that are adding products to the marketplace, and so that increases the choices of products that our patients have to choose from. So we do have a baseline, but we do have to add more and more as time goes by. Where can we get some more information on listing on the marketplace? Well, there's two ways. You can download the vendors app. If you go to, I'll post the link right here, but that's what you can download and use to add your products and actually become a vendor. And the second is just what we're about to start in campaigning. There'll be information out there like sell your products on doc.com and download the doc.com vendors app. That's the stuff that'll be happening. The best way would be to just download the app right now and go through the sign up process. Contracts signed and acquisitions you can talk about. Well, look, what I can say is this. We're definitely planning on doing acquisitions. We're definitely planning on signing big contracts. And I have talked about the opportunities that have been presented to us with large healthcare organizations, with large companies, things like that. But it's not good to talk about it until, there's a signature on the dotted line. And, we have to be very, very careful with that right now. Because, after this filing, we're considered, not a listed company, but we are SEC reporting. We're essentially reporting as a public company already. So I can say that I will do anything and the team will do anything to ensure that we are creating value and doing this as solidly and as strong as possible. And that involves, finding companies to acquire that make sense for us. Signing contracts that increase our growth rapidly. And these are just things that add besides the traditional growth that we expect on having from our services alone. This is more, like, let's say we could sign a contract with a company, or we could sign a contract with a large healthcare organization that could, in a single, with just a single partnership, quintuple our user base, almost immediately. So, those are the kind of things that I'm looking for, just because it's a fast track to getting more. It's a fast track to getting more of a user base and growth and revenues as well, if we can do those things. So, those are things that we've been working on, and they will come out in our next filing. Those updates, So I think, honestly, there's just so many good things that we have access to right now. It's more, I'm not too worried about the lack of opportunities. There's so many opportunities, and people really love what we do, and our business model and our mission. They love that, and that always opens up doors for us. What is important now is that we execute on the big ones and are able to do this quickly and execute nicely. And that's what we're working on now. I believe that we have all the elements to do this very nicely. I believe we have an amazing team, and that we will be growing and doing a great job after this. So, it's that's why it's exciting, because it's not just like, oh, now we have to go out and look for it. It's a lot of things come to us, and that's one of the beautiful things about it, because of our brand, because of the public image that we have, because of the trajectory and the story, and because of you guys, because of the community as well. There's like some things that I'm so surprised that have come up because someone from the community told so-and-so, and that so-and-so was like, oh my gosh, and suddenly I get an email from someone for some big deal. So, it's just a combination of things, and it's all based on the fact that we have never given up on the mission, and we've had to change and pivot and optimize the business model to achieve that mission. But it's something that I have always believed in, working forward to getting to that point. And I think a lot of people also see that. They see that as something that they could participate in and help in. So, and that extends to people, executives of companies, people in government, things like that. So the need is there, and we have support to do it. So really, it's executing right now. When are you going to be on live TV? Well, that's not too far away. That's a good question. Richard there asked. Um, Look, I'm doing lots of things in the PR marketing front, and this time around, it's very, very different on how I went about it, because we have a great team, and they're helping out in a huge way. Um, but I want to go on the next round of PR marketing and really not just come and have this kind of, I mean, I think I've done a good job at kind of telling people and getting people excited about what we do. But the main difference here is I want people to see our services and be wowed by them. And just go on TV or anyone and just say, look, here's the benefit. If you're somebody out there and you just need to speak to someone for whatever reason, and health related, your dog is sick, just try doc.com and press this button. This now exists. I think that's the baseline. I will use that and I will defend that always. But it's about showing it and showing it to people and seeing that it actually works. And that's the main thing for me right now, because people always think it's a good idea, but you have to show it. You have to make it work. You have to deliver on that, and that's really the thing now. So now we put into our filing that we would deliver from 1 month, 1 to 3. We would actually do our launch. So it's very important for us to do that now, and that's what we'll be doing. And then from that point on forward, it just feels right to go on TV and try to get as many people to come into it. We have a whole bunch of celebrity support as well. That's just something that we have to be careful of, because we can flood the gates completely, and have too many users coming in too quickly, and that kind of would be detrimental to the user experience, or would increase wait times. But we're going to do all these things. I mean, we're still going to push hard, and just deal with the growth like that. And I've told this to the team many times, and I've said this on AMAs. There's all these great components of how we can increase utility of MTC, how we can increase revenues of the company, how we can reach more people. But the moment you actually see people's reactions of getting a free 15-minute consultation with a doctor or a psychologist or a veterinarian, there's some things that it really touches your heart, and you see the great benefit of it. And that's what I've always said has been, the reason why I, get up in the morning and I say, this is worthwhile doing, because I already saw that benefit. Some of you already saw that here, or or have been here for a long time and have seen that. And I know in my heart, and I've seen it with my own eyes, that is the basis for the next, to grow of anything, So that's why I always say, well, that's where for me it's like, all right, this is happening now. We can always say, hey, there's people always getting benefits. We're actually helping people here in a very pure way, and always garner support so we can grow faster and do things. So that's really what I'm excited to be doing and talking about it. So let's see. Doc.com will be selling stocks in stages to sell more, to raise more funds. Look, there's really two options for us to raise funds. That's the option we have right now, which is Reg A, which is pending approval, and then we have things like convertible notes, which are essentially loans with an option to convert to shares. So those are two things that we'll all be doing. Once we're listed, we have access to capital as a listed company, and that usually is through changing shares. But we have different options. So you can issue bonds, you can sell shares, you can do lots of things, as long as you have a certain stability in the stock price, which is obviously Very important for us to do. Gives you access to a lot of capital. So that's really kind of the gauntlet you have to go through to become a to get to the point where you can have access to the capital as a public company, but you have to fulfill these requirements. You have to get audited. You have to do all these things to get to that point. You have to maintain price stability for a while. So yes, selling shares is one way, and there are other ways. You can take debt facilities. So basically, you're taking loans, and those two options will always be open for us. In our financial model, we only had contemplated spending $25 million over the course of 2 years to get to 1 million users, roughly, and to get to profitability. So if you consider that, I mean, there's still things that we're changing right now to the financial model because we changed the scope of it and we're doing it nationwide. That the actual calculation we had done before is based on 5 states alone and based on telemedicine data from the insurance companies, based on how many calls they had. So it goes to show the level of opportunity that we have in front of us. And it could be that we end up drawing down more funds to increase the growth. But the great thing about how we're doing this now is everything can be measured. And it's not only us measuring and saying, hey, this is what we think of doing it. It's having it linked to a blockchain hash so people can come to their own conclusions. And that's really that's really the aspect of having a utility. Because a utility, you should be able to see most of the key components, transparently and how it's functioning in any utility. I mean, that's at least one theory of how a utility should work. They can just trust it and that it's an easy, simplified thing to do. It's a utility in that sense. It's easy to manage and administer, and we want to create a healthcare utility. That should be the experience should feel like a healthcare utility, and a big component of that is the transparency aspect of the blockchain. So if we do that well, I don't think we'll have capital constraints. That basically means we won't have issues getting access to capital for whatever we need to do. So I think we have that solved, or we have a plan that solves that. So that's not really. I think the main challenge now is doing a launch and giving a great user experience. That's the challenge, and scaling it as fast as possible. That's the challenge that's ahead of us. It's not that people don't like the services and stuff. I mean, they love it. I mean, they always have loved. Who doesn't like giving a nice consultation with somebody? I mean, that's always something great. It's also not really the challenge is not trying to find product market fit. We know that people get prescriptions. We know that they buy them. We know that they like getting the services done. It's really more handling the growth and getting the word out there. Doing great PR marketing. I think we're pretty good at that too. So we'll see how these next days unfold. But I'm very excited. Doing the filing was a big milestone, enormous milestone. So now, as long as we, hit the next milestones and do what we say we're going to do, we won't have big constraints as far as capital. We'll just have to focus on the growth and ensuring that the experience is great. Let's see, looking at more questions here. How do the crypto news people who are up to date on the latest news going on now, how do they think about it? Well, actually, that's a great question, Gene. How do the crypto news people think about this? I think people in the crypto space in general are desperately looking for something that's beautiful and nice to say, hey, look, this is the reason why. I would recommend people watch. There's a great YouTube content creator called James Janney. So he has a recent post on, maybe it's a couple of months old, but he has a recent post on like Bitcoin. And he tries to say, like, where is the true utility in Bitcoin and all cryptos in general? He's got a great argument because when you see it, you say, all right, most people worldwide aren't using crypto. It still has many barriers of entry, but it doesn't say that the underlying technology and how it's used is being taken advantage of the best way. And it's really a simple thing. I mean, blockchain is not a difficult thing to understand. Essentially, all it does is it's a way for you to report something publicly in a public setting without having to worry about being manipulated. That's essentially it. But in regards to sales, in regards to a company that has to show results, that's what beautiful thing to have. I still am, I'm sure some other companies will start doing the same thing down the road, especially if they're public companies. So you don't want to have situations like, of numbers that are inflated or there's financial engineering in there. And the blockchain is a way to solve that. That's what we're doing. That's what we're on the cutting edge by doing this way. So I think generally speaking, and it goes back to when we first promoted this back in 2018. Hello, everyone. I apologize for that. My battery died. I'm actually standing next to the charger now, but since we're wrapping up anyways. So I think the last question we were talking about, how did the people, promoters and influencers from the crypto community, how do they like this? And the short answer for that was that they love it, that people are anxiously waiting to see something that provides a unique use case for anything related to blockchain in general. Um, and I think we're a great example of it. So that's kind of the messaging that we're going to be telling everyone. And it's always been that way. So I think looking back on everything, on these past years, on everything that we've built, I think really as long as we have the most basic fundamental aspect for running well and correctly, which is people get consultations and products are sold, that simple. As long as that happens, we'll be fine. We'll be able to grow it rapidly to many other countries. We'll be able to showcase the beauties of transparency of blockchain technology and how we're applying it here. We'll be able to decentralize healthcare data in a way that it's never been done before, and ultimately change people's lives. I mean, I think having this kind of access, and I've said this many times before, is life changing for some regions, for people in some regions of the world. Even in the U.S., we've had. So that's the goal. And from a business perspective, a numbers perspective, you know, as long as we have people coming in and using the services, that will ultimately lead to more sales happening, and it'll give us the strength to really showcase this and create the utility that we want to create, something that you would say, oh, you know, it works so well and it's so nicely done that, you know, you wouldn't even think twice about using the services. You would say, oh, this is something that's very, very well done, that we can fully trust, that uses the right technologies to be seamless and to give a great experience to everyone, and confidence as to what's happening with your data and how it's being used to advance medicine. But there's a lot of cool things happening. There's a lot of cool things that we're doing with AI that's really just, it's going to be shocking for people to see. But like I said, those two main things, serving people, giving consultations, and selling products, those are the two most basic fundamental things that we have to ensure happen. So everything else works out. Anyways, I see that I'm pretty sure we covered everything. I'm looking to we're going to be doing some great AMAs coming up, and I'm looking forward to them. And we're going to wrap up whatever changes we need to do to the apps to get them launched as soon as possible. Hopefully, we'll have them launched next week. People will be able to start using them with doctors and stuff. And you know, lots of things can happen this month. We're signing deals. We're, you know, doing this launch and everything. So I'm very excited for what's coming. Anyways, I hope everyone has an excellent weekend. Thank you. Thank you so much for the constant support and feedback. And, you know, I look forward to this next stage. We're getting it done. This is a proof of it with the filing done. I mean, it's all in there, and it was a lot of work to put that together, and there's still so much cool stuff that's and amazing things that's to come. So we will be executing on these things, making sure that they're working well and we're growing, and that people are getting our services. We'll be executing on that, and we'll be updating in our next filing. But as soon as we have the links up for people for the Reg A, we'll be sending those out. We have to wait for approval. And for all those that were in the safe, you'll be receiving your documents as well. So several things that will be happening in the next 30 days, but we're on track now, and this is great. You know, this was the biggest hurdle to cross was this one. It was the most difficult one, so we got it done. Anyways, everyone, I say from the heart, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the constant support. I really value everyone's opinions and their insight, and you know, I hope we can grow this and keep it up. And I look forward to speaking to everyone again next Friday. I wish everyone an excellent weekend, and speak soon, everyone. Thank you for the constant support. Have a great weekend, and bless you all.